Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this Lunch and Learn together with ShoreLink. ShoreLink is an Estonian company that is, dedicated to providing shore power solutions to vessels. And actually, I sort of met them twice. The first time was when I was Googling the words shore power and sustainability. And they were actually the first or the second, I'm not sure, Levan, but one of the top findings. So that's a very good, very good Google result there. And I tried to get in touch, but coincidentally, a week after Gijs and I visited the hybrid the hybrid convention in Amsterdam, where we actually met in person, and things started snowballing from there. And now I'm pleased to say that we will be working together. So we have a cooperation agreement, and this is actually the start of, I hope, a very bright future. And this is not about me or us today. It's about Levan and Adriana and ShoreLink. So please, Levan, take it away.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Indeed, so first of all, very nice to hear that we have our Google optimization in place. We are the first ones to pop out for shore power, and indeed we did meet in Amsterdam. We had a discussion briefly, and we let's say liked very much what you and your company's vision is. Let's say I think we share more or less, all of us share this vision of who is all of us who is, let's say, participating in this process of making this systems more sustainable. So it was very nice to find out that there are people with more people with this kind of vision, with this kind of undertaking as you are doing, and it is. Our pleasure. It's only myself and Adriana at the moment here on this meeting, but it's a pleasure from on behalf of our entire team. Let's say to be involved in what you guys are doing to, let's say, start up this cooperation. And not only do I hope, but I am very much sure that this will go to where you are intending it to go, and then much further. And I wish you all the success in this undertaking of yours. And we also wish to, let's say, help you help us, as it always goes within all fruitful corporations. So yeah, I think I myself, as it was already mentioned, my name is Levan. I represent a company called ShoreLink. And here today also is a colleague of mine, Adriana, and we represent, let's say, the sales department of ShoreLink. I'm in charge of sales, and Adriana is responsible for the portion of sales and the entire marketing processes that go on in our company. So it's let's say, her achievements that ShoreLink is on the map at the moment in Google, on these conferences, exhibitions, and not only. Okay, so I hope very much that everybody sees the screen. This presentation is, let's say, our generic company presentation that we like to do when we want to introduce ourselves in a generic and general way, to say who we are, what we do, what we have done, and where we are going. So as I have already mentioned, we are ShoreLink. We are based in Tallinn, Estonia, and we are focusing on shore power and shore charging solutions. Now, as probably most of you know, this is a pretty wide term, and it keeps getting wider and wider. So in the later slides, I will get to the points of what exactly we are doing. We are doing within this system. So myself, I have already introduced myself, but it's never extra to introduce myself the second time. So my name is Levan. I'm in charge of sales in ShoreLink, and have been the part of the team for second year already. It's been more than 1.5 years, and I would say that we have seen a great deal of increase not only with ShoreLink, but with the industry itself. And from the perspective of let's say sales manager of this company, I would say that I like very much to see where this industry is going. Of course, there is much more to come. But we can say that as per our discussion before the presentation, that the industry is very busy at the moment, and I would say that this is the place to be. And I think we all share this position and opportunities at the moment, which is of course very good. And now back to our focus. First of all, what this onshore power supply is, we like to say that at the moment we are focusing mostly on the shoreside installations, shoreside parts of the cable management system, which of course doesn't mean that we cannot, let's say, do some minor interface equipment projects vessel side. We can deliver some, let's say, cabinets connection interface on the vessel side, but we do not deal with the substation, with the integration, with especially civil works, or with the integration of the vessel itself. We just do the connection interface, which in our vocabulary is called the cable management system, and not only in ours, in the standard and in the industry entirely. So ShoreLink is focusing on the cable management system, which portion of the shore power system, which you can see right on the edge of the key. If you see my mouse, or in the upper right edge of the presentation, this is the simplest example what the cable management systems look like. To put it simply, these are just extension interfaces to deliver the cables from the substation to the vessel. Now, this I have already mentioned some things in advance, so I will just skip this file, but I will say one more thing, that ShoreLink is based in Tallinn, Estonia. However, we are trying to, let's say, establish and extend our already established presence around the globe, and we do this through our agent network. We have this network of people, agents, companies, some establishments, or some individuals who, let's say, share our vision across the globe. And we have this agreement with them in place that we do this together, and they represent us in their territories. We cooperate, we communicate on a regular basis, and this is how we try to, let's say, be present in every aspect of this industry. Because, as I said, at the moment it really is the place to be. It is very busy, and you cannot just, however big the company is, you just cannot keep up with everything that's going on. So this is a very essential and helpful tool to help us do what we do, and to extend our range of operations, let's say. At the moment, our presence includes France, Spain, Italy, Greece, India, Korea, and we are working on some other target markets, because these target markets active with shore power are popping up just like mushrooms after the rain, because as I said, it's very busy. But I think it is fair to say that as we are, let's say, based in Tallinn, Estonia, our biggest trademark project was realized also in the port of Tallinn. And I would say that it's a pretty large scale project, especially for the period that it was realized, which is 2019. And back then it was one of the biggest, but not only back then, up to now, this is one of the biggest RoRo and RoPax combined shore power reference, at least in Europe. And I will now show you this small, let's say, video that we have made to represent what we have done, where our journey started in 2019, and how the operation is generally handled in the port of Tallinn with our equipment.
Hello, my name is Klaus Koppelmann, and I am CEO of ShoreLink. We are an Estonian technology company which is developing and producing shore power and shore charging solutions.
ShoreLink is very proud of delivering 6 cable management systems for RoPax and passenger vessels to our hometown and Port of Tallinn. Most important is that we are also contributing to ensuring cleaner air and less air pollution, since the regular ferries operating between Tallinn, Helsinki and Stockholm can now switch off their engines while they stay at the port. We see that this is a benefit not only for the population of Tallinn, but for the whole world. Important steps are taken to reduce emissions, and many ports have readiness to provide shore power to vessel operators when they are docked. Choose ShoreLink's cable management systems to participate in a greener world.
So this is the installation in Port of Tallinn. As I said, is let's say I would say that it's the closest and dearest to our hearts because it's the hometown. It's our first installation, and it's pretty remarkable for the time, for the period that it was made and delivered, and we are really proud of it. Even though the equipment itself, the let's say shore power dispensers are not the most complex ones that you can find in our portfolio. The project itself is remarkable, physically and technically and emotionally as well. A couple words about the EOPSA. I think most of the participants of this meeting and discussion are familiar with the EOPSA. It's an European Onshore Power Supply Association. We just had shout out to Mr. Roland, the president of European Onshore Power Supply Association, who we hosted in Tallinn just a couple of weeks ago, and showcased our factories. Port of Tallinn had some interesting discussions with him, and ShoreLink is actually one of the founding members of the European Onshore Power Supply Association, and this is truly something that we are proud of as well, because we feel that this organization can really contribute to something bigger, something important that is just about to happen in the industry, but it needs some push and it needs some help in order to be implemented. And I think Vincent, your undertaking is probably serving the same purposes too, which is why we are also very proud to, let's say, initiate our cooperation as well. I'll go a couple of slides a little bit more specific of what ShoreLink does, what products are in our portfolio, and the first one, of course, this is the equipment that you saw on the video, the one that we have in the Port of Tallinn. And this is the dispenser type cable management system. This would be the most, let's say, basic and straightforward equipment to implement shore power in your port. And of course, once again, we are talking about just our scope, which is this cable management system quayside installation. And this is basically a cable crane to deliver the power cables to the ship. And it's a very customizable equipment. It's very convenient equipment because, as I said, it's very robust, it's very straightforward, and it's very popular as well. And what I forgot to mention is, of course, there are some standards, as probably in every other industry, that regulate how the shore power installations need to be implemented. And of course, ShoreLink is doing every project based on the standard. And this dispenser, as I said, it is very much customizable. It can be implemented in medium voltage spectrum, in low voltage spectrum. It can be, let's say, adjusted to different types of vessels, depending on their size, depending on some environmental conditions in the port, higher tides, lower tides, hedge height higher, hedge height lower, some longitudinal movements, vertical movements. So it's very customizable. And I think this is why it is very popular. And high demand product, let's say, on the market at the moment. And the one that you see at the moment, it's of course it's medium voltage with one cable, same as the installations in Port of Tallinn. But just to prove my words that this is quite customizable solution, I can show you the low voltage version of the dispenser that we have just recently completed. And this actually is by definition a very important project, very important customer. This dispenser will be used for LNG units in Norway, for a very important customer. And this very equipment, not only for LNG units, it can be used for some low voltage or Dropbox vessels. We can come across vessels like this as well. It can be some FSRU, some floating platforms, regasification units, again LNG carriers, and so on and so forth. So this is a pretty remarkable equipment as well, piece of equipment as well, because as you probably understand from the picture, it is the dimensions are quite big too. This one was actually 10 meters high, but again, it's customizable. It can be 5 meters high and it can be 15 meters high, based on depending on the project specific requirements. This we already went through in the video. We have our installations, of course, in Port of Tallinn, in Finland, Sweden, Norway. We either have our installations or we will soon be delivering our installations to these places, to Port of Naantali in Finland, to Port of Norway, close to Port of Stockholm in Sweden. Norway concerns this low voltage dispenser, and Estonia, of course, our installation in the Port of Tallinn. Now, other remarkable, let's say, important point to mention from our portfolio is the electric automated charging system for electric and hybrid vessels, hybrid ferries. This market is also at the moment it's in its starting phase, but it's starting to boom because a lot of vessels, ferries between island ferries, river ferries are being converted to either hybrid or new ones are built that are fully electric. So obviously you need some charging equipment on shore. So this is our first prototype, working prototype of fully automatic electric charger for hybrid and electric vessels. And this is, as I said, it's a working solution. It has been completed already in our factory. It has been factory accepted, and we are, let's say, waiting for the customer's queue in the nearest month, probably to install it in one of the ports in Estonia, to serve some ferries that go between the islands. And it's also a very convenient piece of equipment because this kind of ferries go back and forth pretty fast. You need some fast connections. You need charging for 8 minutes, then go to the other side, charge there, go to this side, charge here again. So this is why this fully automated operation is very important, and our equipment is let's say truly delivering on all these requirements that this industry has, and we will soon start site delivering these to the sites as well, and hopefully many more too in the future, because as I said, this market is booming as well at the moment. Next up, the biggest scope of shore power industry at the moment, anyway, for now at least, which is the shore power for cruise vessels. Again, here we also focus only on the cable management system, CMS part of the cruise installation. And just to put it simply, not to go into much details, these cruise installations usually consist of this cable management system that we supply, some shore connection cabinets that are located on the shore with some predefined frequency. Let's say some berths are longer, some are shorter, some have 3 connection cabinets, some of them have 1 connection cabinet, and respectively the cable length on the cable reel of cable management system as well. And yes, this is the latest design of the cruise cable management system that we have. This particular one will go to the port of Stockholm. We are delivering 2 cable management systems for cruise vessels for port of Stockholm within the first half of next year. And not only that, we are also delivering similar systems to some other cruise ports in the Scandinavian region, and namely these are Port of Ålesund in Norway, Port of Aarhus in Denmark. Port of Ålesund, actually our CMS is already at the site. Port of Aarhus to be delivered in the first part of next year. Port of Stockholm to be delivered in the first half of next year. And well, of course, there are some differences between the cable management systems. For instance, the one that you're looking at the moment, Port of Stockholm, it's a fully self-propelled and battery-powered solution. While for Port of Ålesund and Port of Aarhus, for instance, they opted for towed cable management systems, which interface, of course, the idea is the same, but the realization and the fine details are, of course, different. And here you can see our cable management system in real life. This one is intended for Port of Ålesund, and intended is a bad word because it's already in the Port of Ålesund. So it was constructed for Port of Ålesund, it was shipped to Port of Ålesund, and we are looking forward to the time when this thing is in operation there. Same piece of equipment will go to Port of Aarhus as well. Next up, the second scope of this shore power system, which is this connection cabinets. These ones, to be thematically logical, are cruise connection cabinets. Connection cabinets for cruise vessels. We usually deliver this with our cruise cable management systems. Not that it's included in the scope, or it's included in the entire project. So wherever the cruise cable management system is required, the port usually also required some sort of connection interface on the berth, which would be on the quay, which would be this one from our side. And of course, these connection cabinets, the cruise one probably is the most complicated one because of the power requirements, because of some standard requirements. But of course, connection cabinets can be converted to suit ro-ro vessels, ro-pax vessels, container vessels, which would have different kind of details in their interface, different kind of different amount of sockets, different dimensions, of course, and so on and so forth. But generally, connection cabinets for most kinds of vessels are in our scope as well. Yes, some cable reels. This particular one is for container terminals. Now, container terminals are pretty, different from each other. There is never a similar or same type of terminal ever, even if they're pretty close geographically. So this one is just one fine example of what a cable management system for container terminals can look like, based on the issue of container terminals that there is very limited space between the edge of the quay or bollards and the crane wheels. So this one has been designed to be, to fit in those limited areas, and this one is maybe 1.2 meters in width. So it's also, I would say, a pretty remarkable piece of design because it can fit in this kind of limitations and supply the ship with shore power. But of course, as I mentioned, there are a couple more options for container terminals as well. For instance, just some ordinary cable reels, which I like to say that are the most customizable solution equipment generally in shore power, because this can be fixed on the quay, this can be fixed on the vessel, this can be portable, like you see on the picture, this can be moved around in the port with a forklift or with a port crane and so on and so forth. You can place this wherever you want them to be placed. When in use, you can remove them from the quay when not in use, and so on. And of course, this low voltage, medium voltage, it's obviously also included spectrum of what we can do, because our solutions, I would say that mostly are complicated, not complicated, mostly are specific in the mechanical aspect rather than electrical aspect. So first you fix the mechanical aspect of what is suitable to the port or to the user, and then it's customizable on the electrical scale. Of course, not for all the solutions, but usually this would be the case. And yes, of course, some of our let's say snippets and memories from this one is this specific one is from Hamburg, from SMM this year, just to represent that ShoreLink and especially our marketing guru Andriana is we are present in quite a lot of occasions, exhibitions, conferences, and again, one of them was hybrid and this expo in Amsterdam, where we met our partners from Sustainable Ships as well. So you can quite often see us, talk to us, meet us, get some of our technical specifications, brochures, visit cards, business cards, and so on some major exhibitions like Hamburg, like Amsterdam, and so on and so forth. So we are trying to say keep active and keep up this proactive approach that we have. ShoreLink generally, we like to say that we always can find some time in case anybody has any questions. We are always happy to, let's say, support, to give some explanation. Of course, explanation regarding the things that we specialize in, or help find some people that specialize in some other things. Some of our partners, for instance, in case somebody is interested. We always try to, let's say, put people in touch with the right people, would it be ourselves or our partners. That doesn't matter to us. The main thing to us is that the information is shared, that the information reaches the right people, and that the right people then compose right tenders, and that we make right proposals to these right tenders, and that the projects are realized in the right way. This is to put it in short, more or less a happy life, not only for us, but for all the stakeholders of this industry. But yes, generally, I would say that this is in short who we are, what we do, what we have done, and I would welcome any questions that any of participants of these meetings might have. And of course, again, thank you to Sustainable Ships. Thank you guys to give us this opportunity, let's say, to speak for ourselves once again, to present who we are, and to meet some interesting people and questions, hopefully. So I'm all ears.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Perhaps you can. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Well, Levan, I have a lot of questions written down, but I'll first give the floor to the others, of course. So if there are any questions, feel free to unmute or ask them in the chat box.
Well, I've got a question. What is the typical power output or the maximum power output that you can deliver through your basic ShoreLink connection that you showed us earlier? Because do you need multiple connections if you have a large vessel, or is it just enough to get one power supply?
Let's say this. I mentioned this shore power standard IEC 8005 that is active at the moment, especially for medium voltage installations, which means 1000 volts or up. Usually up to, let's say, 11 kV, 11,000 volts, and that spectrum of let's say voltage and power combinations is pretty well defined by the standard. It tells you that the most power at the moment that is mentioned and defined by standard is applicable to the cruise vessels, because obviously these are the biggest ones, and this would be, according to the standard, up to 20 MVAs. Now, whether you really can come across a vessel that requires 20 MVAs, that's another conversation. But most of the let's say tenders still require everything that is written in the standard. So in the standard, in the tender documents, you would come across a statement that we need a cruise cable management system capable of connecting the vessel up to 16 or 20 MVAs. So this would be, if we are talking, let's say, within the standard, the most power that can go through our equipment. But of course, it's I don't think it's technically the maximum that can happen. It can go. It can be more for sure. But as this industry generally is regulated by the standard, this is the industry standard that is in power at the moment. And the minimum can go all the way down to, for some low voltage installations, for some bulk carriers, or for some tugboats, or for some similar smaller vessels, can go down to a couple hundred kilowatts maybe, or something similar, and even smaller probably.
Yeah.
So this is the spectrum that we cover.
All right. Yes. Thank you.
Maybe in the meantime, if nobody's asking questions, do you have something like a universal plug? Because most of the questions that we get is the incompatibility of different plug types and ship connection panels.
Yes, that is a very common question. Guys, first of all, do you see me at the moment? Is my video on?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So this there is a lot of conversations, not only for the plugs, but also for some other components of the shore power systems, how this can be unified and this can be standardized, that everything fits everything. At the moment, this is not possible. At the moment, you need to have basically different kinds of plugs for different kinds of applications. Cruise vessels require different plugs. Ro-Pax vessels require different plugs, and low voltage installations require different plugs, because let's say the standard dictates how many of what pins or pilots you need to have within the plug and within the cable. So for cruise vessels, that would be different. For low voltage installations, that would be different. Maybe some specific customer requirement will require in a different way. So to say that there is a universal plug for now, that would not hold true. But hopefully, because not only regarding the plugs, regarding some other aspects, as I said, of the shore power system, we have come across some interesting questions and requests why these things cannot be unified, why one cable management system cannot fit every kind of vessel that there is, or that there might be, low voltage, medium voltage, this kind, that kind. But for now, that would not be the case. But based on the fact that there is, let's say, at least some kind of demand at the moment for this unification, probably the market theoretically and the technical solutions need to go to that direction, because that's how it usually happens and works with these developments. But for now, yes, we need to struggle with different kind of plugs, different kind of cabinets, cables, cable management systems, and so on.
Yeah, interesting. And the cables themselves, I mean, in terms of size or weights or constraints, they also change according to the plug or standards?
Usually the power requirements, this voltage and power combination, would dictate how big of a cable you need. To some extent, of course, it's classified by the standard. Then to some extent, it's classified by the specific requirement of the project. Some environmental conditions, if you are doing something in the, let's say, Middle East, and it's 55 degrees, 60 degrees Celsius in the air, you need to take this into consideration, because not all the cables can stand temperature like this, and so on. Yeah. So sometimes you have heavier cables, lighter cables, and so on.
Clear. Any other questions? I have at least one.
Yeah, hello. My name is Sean Crowley from Stoll Tankers. Sorry, the camera is not working at the moment. Just have a question regarding your LNG ships that you did. I presume that's outside the ATEX zone on the aft, or is it on the midship?
Yes, this one. Thank you for the question. It was this one that we have supplied this outside the ATEX zone. Now, ATEX zone is a separate, let's say, complication to the shore power itself, because, of course, obviously, everybody knows it, that it brings on much more requirements and limitations to the system. What we have done, this low voltage system for LNG that we have showcased, it's installed on the quayside, and this specific one was outside the ATEX zone. It was not the ATEX zone.
Yeah, because that's I've been looking into the shore power now for the last 15, 16 years for tankers, and it's as you mentioned there, the biggest obstacle before has been, of course, the connection point. Yeah, where to connect, and also the plug type, because if we want to invest, which we do, we want to be able to use it in all the terminals that we go to worldwide. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
And now it is actually, after kicking off now in the last, I would say, last year and a half, we are now involved with the Port of Rotterdam, Port of Gothenburg, and now recently I've just been asked to join the OCIMF work group, which involves all the oil majors and various companies. So we just had our second meeting a few weeks ago. Now the third one is next week, I think, and that's the main driver, of course, is because most of the terminals, they have only a small area where the manifold connects, and that, of course, is in the ATEX zone. And I know Port of Gothenburg, which is one of the leaders, they've actually started this now already.
Yes.
They picked the midship. So, there's a specific one meeting specifically just on the location that will be probably next week. And this is the standard side. I've read the standard so many times already, as you, and that's one of the main drivers, of course, because once that's decided, we're all sure the electric is I won't say it's the easiest part, but at least one should determine the location of where it's going to connect.
Exactly.
And that's the main thing. And hopefully there will be some within the next year to year and a half. They say that the standards will be finalized on this.
Yes. I agree with you completely. This what is regulated by the standard itself is more or less electrical stuff, number of pilots, number of let's say voltage, power. That's the easy part. And Port of Gothenburg, you mentioned, they are let's say, the way they have solved this is, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's you can place this shore power equipment, cable management system specifically, in some kind of pressurized container, and place it farther away from the ship, and some kind of outlet from this container. Of course, it leaves out some questions, but that's how I have heard that it's one of the ways to solve this ATEX thing, because I would say adapting this our equipment, for instance, to ATEX zone requirements, that's I would say not feasible at the moment nowadays, at least nowadays, for a couple of reasons, and the biggest one is the price factor. Because if you adjust this, all the components and the design and the layout to ATEX, it will get much more expensive than it already is, and that can be a problem. But Port of Gothenburg, yes, it's a very good example of how they are planning or have done this, are doing this for their tankers, which is some cable reels that I already presented within some kind of pressurized containers, and that's how they solve it. But I agree with you completely that it really is a challenge, and I have heard also that these standards are at the moment under works, under development, especially the low voltage standard. As it's, well, by definition, it's not a fixed, let's say, formal standard. It's a set of recommendations that there is, and some brilliant people are working on it at the moment, and I hope as well that it will make things easier within a couple of years. But for now, yes, I agree that we have those kind of challenges that you described.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
If nobody else has any questions, I have one regarding rules and regulations. Have you noticed more uptake because of, for instance, the Clean Shipping Act in the US or Fuel EU Maritime? Or is that too far away still?
I think it's a little bit too far away. Maybe maybe it's not too far away, but maybe the effect hasn't reached us entirely. Yeah, because we're saying it's too far away. It's I don't think it's entirely fair. I think the case is that this effect needs to ramp up, and I think it will reach us in one big blow. But it's definitely coming.
So that in a few years, when ports and ship owners realize, well, especially ports realize they have to provide shore power by 2030, then they probably realize it too late.
Yeah, because these are not easy projects, and these are not projects that come around in 2 days. Especially these projects have to go through so many stages. This, let's say, especially the fundings, all this formal stuff, commercial stuff, then the technical stuff, announcing the tender, awarding the tender, realizing it's many years. It's not 1 year project. So soon it's already almost 2023, and let's say around 2025 there will be this breaking point that everybody will start running around, looking for some solutions, for some urgent ones.
Yeah.
This is what I think. But of course, some of the maybe most of the bigger ports are starting to take the initiative, and they're giving example. Of course, there were some examples. Saying Port of Tallinn, they did this in 2019, and we are in 2022, and in most of the cases there is still conversations of how difficult this is, and how it's doable and how it's not doable, and what obstacles there are. But there are some, let's say, front runners. So in the face of these big ports that take initiative, and I think many will follow. They have to follow.
Exactly. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Anyone else? Maybe last questions. Well, if not, they know where to find you. Levan.
Yeah, of course. It's I cannot hand out my business cards, unfortunately. But you are free to contact us. I think we had this presentation will be on recorded, I guess, and available to everybody. I think I went through a slide with our contact details as well, and feel free to reach us anytime with any questions, inquiries. And as I said, we are always happy to help and have a discussion.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone. And thank you in particular, Levan and Andriana. And we'll talk to each other soon.
Thank you very much for this opportunity once again. I'm 100% sure that this ramps up, this keeps ramping up, and it will become more directive for you, for us, and for everybody. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean. All right.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.